I need to post a tentative redaction, at least in part, for some of the information I posted in my last video. This is Rev. Michelle Hopkins. Urgent possible emergency alert for FEMA Region III. I made a huge mistake in not fully vetting the video information before uploading it. The intent was well-meaning. I believed the information, and if true, the repercussions, in my thinking, were far too time-sensitive to leave everyone in the dark while I sat on the information till I was able to fully firm up its validity. Rest assured, I will do my very best not to make that mistake again. Senator Sheldon R. Songstad, retired of South Dakota State, did in fact serve as senator for South Dakota. Here is his information from the South Dakota legislature. Unfortunately, the senator who this email is attributed to has been unavailable for comment, so I and others have not been able to verify that it was he who wrote the original message, which was not sent to me personally but forwarded by another source. During this vetting process, I have investigated U.S. government documentation that lends validity to some of its assertions. Here's what I found. The email that was posted on Awakening's Facebook page after prior postings on other sites, before being sent to me as a heads up. This is it. And I will list all these links in the description. The first thing that it mentioned was the FEMA purchase orders for over $14.2 million for MREs and heater meals to be delivered to Region 3 by October 1st. It also listed FEMA purchase orders for 22 million pouches of emergency water to be delivered to Region 3 by October 1st. Though I wasn't able to find those specific purchases, I did find this. The New York Times, their headline read, "As worries over the power grid rise, a drill will simulate a knockout blow." The drill is called GridEx II. It runs November 13th and 14th, 2003. It's an EMP simulation. The exercise is an entire North American-wide exercise. Interestingly enough, the final planning phase is October 1. The Washington Examiner reported on the dangers of an EMP in the U.S. on July 31st, 2013. In an online video, former CIA Director Jim Woolsey explained in detail how an enemy of the United States could successfully deliver an EMP attack.
We are at war now with those who want to take down our electricity grid. Nobody is really in charge of security for the grid, and no single intelligence with a staff that is planning how to deal with these threats as they come up is in place. They don't exist. We are not in a position to respond really at all, much less promptly. And every 100 or 200 years, a huge electromagnetic pulse from the sun, a so-called Carrington event, can have a massive effect on the electromagnetic sphere of the Earth. And it is not something that has to be, or necessarily will be likely to be, carried out by an adversary. It can be carried out by the sun. Hank said everything's designed to come over the pole at us, and we're defending over the pole.
Right.
With a fractional orbital bombardment system, which the Soviets invented and which we've had too, you could launch to the south, come around the South Pole, and detonate an EMP shot above the United States without ever having passed within the path of the radars and defense systems. Now, it doesn't mean they couldn't be reorganized to point south, in part. That's, right. I mean, Hank's just told you basically how to do that. But it hadn't been done. So today you have a vulnerability to the type of threat that he's describing coming around the South Pole without any even detection, much less defense.
He explains the very path the ordnance needs to travel in order to avoid our anti-aircraft and EMP prevention web structure completely. In short, he gave our enemies an invitation to deliver a successful EMP attack without consequence. Then we were informed of a global EMP threat, saying the Earth barely missed taking a massive solar punch in the teeth 2 weeks ago, an electromagnetic pulse so big that it could have knocked out power, cars, and iPhones throughout the United States, and I don't know how they picked the United States for that, which I showed to be a false flag in my video. In EMP, Obama's former CIA director assures U.S. enemies attacks from the South are undetected and undefended. Newsmax.com broke this story. Sequester leads Air Force to shut down Space Fence surveillance system. This is the system that protects us from space, near space, and aerial attack. We're told the system will be discontinued on October 1. It is a series of 3 transmitters and 6 receivers located across different points in the southern United States, exactly the southern path that the former CIA director told our enemies to EMP us by. The European Union Times reported that Obama requested 15,000 Russian troops for an upcoming disaster. FEMA Region III includes D.C., Delaware, Maryland, Pennsylvania, Virginia, and West Virginia. This memo said that FEMA purchase orders for $13.6 million for MREs and heater meals were to be delivered to Austin by October 1st. I didn't find that purchase anywhere, but I did find this. On Before It's News, Austin, Texas terror alert coincides with Homeland Security drill. A Homeland Security warning about possible terrorist threat to venues in Austin, Texas in August was set out July 19th, 2013, warning of unconfirmed possible random terrorist attacks. It reads like the prompt for a large-scale terrorism drill, including preparation, response cues, like the many Operation Urban Shield drills that have been conducted by the Homeland Security, including one which occurred on April 15th during the Boston Marathon, where Boston and Homeland Security's finest were on the scene during the bombing. I didn't find the documentation on 386,000 UN peacekeeping troops anywhere, but the European Union Times reported that Obama requested 15,000 Russian troops for an upcoming disaster in FEMA Region III. According to this email, the World Health Organization held its second emergency meeting in its history to discuss MERS coronavirus. Determined a vaccine must be in place by October 1st. The World Health Organization not only held an emergency meeting regarding MERS coronavirus, but on July 5, 2013, reflecting the need for a global response to the continuing outbreak, the World Health Organization Director General called for the establishment of an emergency committee on MERS coronavirus. MERS coronavirus is the Middle East Respiratory Syndrome coronavirus. Is there a vaccine or treatment for MERS coronavirus? No. No vaccine is currently available, and no virus vaccine deadline has been verified. Treatment is largely supportive and should be based on patient's clinical condition. The email went on, 2,800 MRAPs must be delivered to DHS by October 1st. TheExaminer.com broke this story. Report: DHS buying 2,700 armored vehicles for domestic use. There's a vehicle Obama's DHS purchases 2,700 MRAP, mine-resistant, ambush-protected, armored tanks. They are showcased in this video. I'll leave it in the description. You might be interested to know that according to FEMA's own website, as of April 15, 2013, FEMA's inventory of rounds was 246,451,611, upon which time they purchased 1.6 billion, that's billion with a B, rounds of ammunition that same month, as Forbes reported, just the first of numerous ammunitions purchases. All DS agents, the memo went on to say, must qualify with sidearm, shotgun, and AR-15 by September 28th. No mention of yearly less lethal qualification. On the Department of Homeland Security's website, they say most of our agents and officers are required to qualify 4 times each year, plus an annual nighttime qualification on all issued weapons, including pistols as well as rifle and/or shotgun. There are variations between the components. Now that DHS carries AR-15s, agents must qualify with them as well. End of fiscal year is October 1, 2013, so this story checks out. According to the email, sporadic testing of GPS and communication satellites is coordinated for the first time with a testing date of September 29th. On NASA's site, that program with that very objective is in full swing. To ensure interoperability of GPS and other GNSSs, GLONASS, Galileo, through a common, independent measurement technique. Project test dates were not found. According to this email, all National Guard units will complete riot control and disaster assistance training during this year's annual 2-week training. All units must have their training complete by September 30th. These are training photos of Air National Guard in riot training. My military sources are confirming this, and with fiscal year end, October 1, this story checks out. There are a couple of videos that I highly recommend. DHS prepping for war, more ammo, arms, etc. Prepare now for what's to come. And government can take anything from us. Executive Order 13603. And once again, I deeply apologize for not vetting properly the video Urgent Possible Emergency Alert for FEMA Region III. This is Rev. Michelle Hopkins. Thank you for watching, and God bless you.